Hey guys, I'm Katie. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you to Joe for reaching out to me and asking me to speak. And also thank you to 5D. I heard about this meeting when you guys just used to meet like Wednesday and Sunday, I think, or Monday, and pre-COVID, yeah. And then when COVID hit, I came here a lot during the night, because I needed a meeting, and yeah, and you guys were there, and you guys were there for a lot of suffering alcoholics trying to stay sober. So thank you for that. Um, so again, I'm Katie. I'm an alcoholic. I live in Philadelphia. I got yeah, so my sobriety date, let me just qualify myself. My sobriety date is July 18th, 2018. That was not the first time I tried to get sober. Let me just start my timer for myself. Yeah, so I had been trying to get sober a couple years before that. What it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. Um, when I grew up, I thought I felt very alone. I had like a lot of anxiety. It was hard for me to make friends. High school was like a little hard for me like to make friends. I had some friends from grade school, but like I always felt like I needed to have more. I felt like growing up, I needed to have like certain like I thought I needed materialistic things or a certain friend group in order to be happy. Granted, I I didn't know how to be a friend basically back then before I came into AA probably or have a relationship. I always thought I needed something else to fix me, basically. I was like a late bloomer probably for drinking. I started drinking when I went away to college because I didn't have any friends. And then when I did went away to college and I started drinking, it like it like just washed away all my anxiety. I felt like I could talk to people. I felt like I found the cure to meeting people, like making friends, being funny. I thought it was a shit basically. Sorry if I can't curse. It kind of like it just helped me to not open up, but like be more like less like have less anxiety basically. Um, to backtrack a little, when I was growing up, my dad he would drink on the weekend, so like I never knew what I had a very specific type of what a person that drank too much, basically, or was an alcoholic. My dad and his friends, they had like these wild stories. Like I'm from New Jersey, like right outside of Philadelphia. I grew up in, and we'd always go down the shore to Sea Isle or Ocean City, New Jersey, basically. And they had these wild stories of getting arrested and all this. And my dad would still drink heavily on the weekends growing up, and he would have fits of anger or bouts of anger, basically. He would like destroy the house sometimes with his drinking. He would kick us out sometimes when he was drinking, like from grade school to high school. Eventually, like I was able to get a relationship with him, whatever that was before he passed. But it was just I had a very specific idea because my mom she didn't drink. She's very like has like one drink and can't drink anymore. Like or she's just like tipsy from that. And like my mom's side of the family was very like my mom is one of 11 Irish Catholic. I grew up in an Irish Catholic household. So like it was very hard because like some my aunts and uncles they wouldn't really drink or they would but they wouldn't be getting blacked out. Like my dad would like you could tell the difference even as a kid when someone was a heavy drinker basically I would say. And I could tell that. So I always kind of felt like ashamed of my family a little bit. I always thought we were different. I thought like they need to act a certain way or whatnot. I wasn't sure what was going on in my head basically. But then eventually like I was able to make friends in college. I like started drinking. I thought like that was a cure basically. I after college live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania now. Um After college. I thought like that, like moving to the city from a little town, not that little, but like a town in Jersey, like that was gonna fix me. I would go to the bars a lot on the weekends, like when I was in my early 20s, having a lot of fun. I don't really remember my drinking story was very like how to say I drank like because eventually like my drinking increased gradually over the years, I would say, from just like Thursday, I mean, excuse like Friday, Saturday, maybe Thursday to like eventually increased to Wednesday to Saturday, Wednesday to Sunday. And then like after like a number of years, it just became like I would go to happy hours with coworkers or friends, and then I would still need to have my supply of alcohol in the at my apartment because if I didn't have that, I was kind of annoyed that we would stop drinking at like, a reasonable time for some people to go home to go to bed. Like I wanted to keep the party going, and even if that was by myself in my apartment, basically. So I just wanted to keep drinking. I didn't know how to stop, basically. I kind of like wrote down like the drinking was fun until it wasn't. It became a necessity. And eventually, yeah, eventually how did eventually I don't remember the switch to like I think I started hanging out with people less because I knew like that they would judge me for my drinking. I think some people have made comments about like if like I would have like a glass or two of wine on a weeknight, like my roommates, they'd be like, and they weren't, and they were like, well, does it count if you're not drinking alone if we're here with you? I'm like, so I kind of calmed it down for a little bit, but then like once I started like I was able to like live by myself in an apartment, say, I would just drink like all night long. I would have to call out like on Mondays. I remember like drinking till like 4 a.m. sometimes, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I'm calling out work like because I couldn't make it through. I remember like I remember and I not even realizing this, I had to switch from like alcohol to wine because the wine like like drinking wine was a better hangover for me the next day. And it was just like a lot of concealing like how much I drank because I knew I couldn't tell anyone how much I was drinking. Eventually like it was like I forget how many days. It was like like Tuesday. Maybe I would have off like Monday or Tuesday from drinking because I ran out and like I didn't like I couldn't physically go get any wine or whatever. And but I was drinking like two of those bottles a night. And eventually it was just I was just very isolated. I thought I was depressed. I thought I just needed to get on medication for depression. And that would fix me. I in the meantime, I was still like shopping and like probably overeating and just trying to find something to fix the hole that I had, like try to fix my compulsion, um, along with the drinking. And what sorry, I lost my train of thought. And then eventually I went to the doctors because I I I had like stomach pain and it wasn't going away. It ended up being nothing, but eventually eventually I kind of had to come clean to them how much I was drinking like a night. At first they were like asking me like, "Do you have an idea of like what it could be?" And I was going to tell them how much I knew I was drinking too much. But like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything about AA. Like no one in my family had been to AA, none of my cousins. Like the doctors were really the one to introduce me to it. Like when I was trying to say I was drinking too much, it came out I drink too much sparkling water instead of I'm drinking 2 bottles of wine a night. I don't know why that came out. I wasn't ready, I guess, to admit that I had a problem. Eventually I did admit how much I was drinking a night, and then they sent me to like other doctors, and I basically said to another doctor like I think I have like mental health issues, and because of this one thought or something. And she was like, no, that's a regular emotion, you just need to stop drinking. And we proceeded to call rehabs for the next hour, and they were the ones that told me about the app with the chair app was just starting, and like they showed me to the website of like where to find an AA meeting, and I walked all around like the city. It was December of like 2017 at this point. I was like 32 at this point. So I've been drinking a while, and like this is the first time I've really heard of AA. And and I thought I had a very specific idea what AA. I thought it was like old white men drinking heavily, um like not women who drank wine basically, like and could didn't fight. Like I didn't fight. I never got like arrested. I never got evicted. I never lost my home. I didn't have a family to lose. I didn't have like kids to lose basically. Um or anything like that. So I thought I had all these ideas of what an alcoholic was, and I wasn't it. I remember walking around for my first meeting and thinking like, what's this book that they keep that these meetings keep referring to? I didn't know anything about the big book about Alcoholics Anonymous. Eventually I went to rehab. We would read the big book of alcohol. I went to rehab like that Friday. It was like Wednesday was my first meeting. Friday I was in rehab. Because I finally admitted to my mom how much I was drinking, and like we got like I eventually went. Um, and like we read the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and in it was that paragraph. Um, I forget what page it is, but it's always like trying to go trying and it was literally switch from like liquor or alcohol to wine, natural wine or something, going on a vacation, taking a trip, not taking a trip, like health farms basically. And that those are all the things I tried to do to stay sober. It never worked. I would always try to like 2010 was a big time for like Instagram, those workouts and like having Why Not Wednesday. So I think I was able to like not drink for like a week, but then like Why Not Wednesday would happen, and I would have like, okay, I'll just have one glass. It ended up being two bottles, and I was eating fast food the rest of the week and stopped the program because I started drinking for the rest of the time. So eventually I got into rehab. I got out. I tried to do IOP. That didn't really work for me. I think I needed AA more than and just individual therapy. That is what probably worked for me personally. I'm not suggesting that everyone does their own thing. So yeah. Eventually, I was relapsing and I was doing IOP and it just wasn't working out. So eventually I tried to go back to meetings. I wasn't, but like when I went back to meetings, it was like March of 2018, I remember. I was able to get 90 days. But I was just going to meetings. I wasn't working for a sponsor. I wasn't doing the steps. I wasn't fellowshipping. I was too scared. I would run out of the meetings afterwards. I tried to do yoga, workout basically along with the meetings. More so with the meetings because I was still very isolated and I didn't have anything else to do. So I'm like, well, might as well. I can pause this Netflix show and go to a meeting and be around people and try not to stop doing one. Eventually, I went to a coworker's wedding and I was like white knuckling it through the cocktail hour. Excuse me, hour. So I'm like, okay, I made it. Then there was champagne at the dinner table, and I was like, forget this. And I started drinking. And eventually, I got my current sobriety date, which is July 18th, 2018, which I'm very grateful for. I had met, like, I remember, like, I had been going to this, like, beginners meeting, and I would, like, raise my hand and be like, and had said, like, how many days I had. And then, like, I'm like, do I say it? Until I said one day. And a woman who came up, she's like, if you want to go through the big book with me, I'm available. And I was just going through my purse, not even looking at her, not because I was looking for anything in my purse, but because I just couldn't look at anyone at that point. And I was like, yes. So I took her number. I eventually started working the steps with her, which I'm grateful for. She was like suggesting things to me, like she was like, try to make plans with people, like with women for brunch on Sunday, so that like you won't drink on Saturday and like meet up with them. But that was so foreign to me. I didn't know how to like save a phone number in my phone. And I still had a smartphone at that point. I just was so I like it was so either had mass hysteria inside of me the first year of sobriety, or I don't know. But eventually she did suggest like going to like the young people. They had like it was like a Philly bid for ASL at that point, and that got me involved in service. And like I had a group of fellowship, but I was also working the steps too. And then like I really loved YPAA, or do YPAA, excuse me. But once 2020 hit, things kind of got put on pause, and that's how I found this group, which I'm so grateful for. Um, I will say, what it's like now, what it's like since I've been sober. I got a little too, like I did my steps. I was very scared to do my amends, but it worked out fine, and I felt so much better. I felt so much relief from the bondage of self and freedom. Um, Currently, I'm redoing my steps with a new sponsor, and I was like I would be saying more involved in I can't think of the words. I'm more involved in like like getting more deep with God and my higher power, I'd say, and trusting God and turning it over. I'm so it's still so hard for me, but I'm so grateful for them. And then and then I'm also what am I also doing? I'm trying to call 3 women again a day. I just started today, so let's see how that works tomorrow. But and that's just always, I don't know, the phone is just it just feels so anxiety to me, but um and then too, like when I did my fourth and fifth step again too, and now it just feels more like it feels more of a relief after I do it. It feels humbling, but it's a relief. So, that's just my experience with that. But then also too, I've dealt with a lot of losses too in sobriety. Like in 2021, my brother, he passed away suddenly. He was schizophrenic. Um, and two, I think that was like one of the things from growing up. He became schizophrenic when I was like 18 or turning just graduating high school. But I was very in an Irish Catholic family, so I couldn't say any. I felt like I couldn't like talk to anyone about this. Like friends, I would tell like one or two friends about like my family or my dad or my brother. Like it just felt like I couldn't talk about it. And like really since coming to AA, it's like you gotta talk about things. You gotta like trust in something other than yourself, like trust in a higher power, basically, or in God. He passed away in June of 2021, very suddenly. And then that was very hard for me. I was very depressed, I would say. And then we couldn't really grieve him because then my dad became sick. Um, I will say though too, I mean, because I was sober, I was able to be there for my parents and my siblings. I'm one of five, so I do have two other sisters. I have two sisters and another other brother. So I was able to show up for them during that time, which I wouldn't have been. It would have been all about me in my head. It wouldn't have been about anyone else. I was able to be there for my parents. And then when my dad got sick, at first we weren't sure how serious. Like he passed away from lung disease, so we weren't sure how serious it was until it got really bad. And then um I mean, I was able to be there for them. I was able to visit them and like go to Sundays to make sure they were okay. I was able to show up for my family. And then we did end up also losing my aunt, my dad's only sister. So it was kind of like, and then I had two other aunts pass away. I'm from a big Irish Catholic family, but it was still hard. So yeah, but because of this program, I was able to stay sober. At first it was I was too depressed to drink, and then I had friends checking in on me and friends coming to the funerals. And then eventually it kind of like now that I'm out of it, I do have to work my program. I mean, even though I just celebrated 7 years, my sponsor was telling me like you still gotta like you're still at risk. It's still one day at a time. You still are at a risk for relapse. And I had some friends relapse too at 10 and 7 years. So that kind of scared me. So, but I mean, very grateful for this program. I feel like I rambled, but I know I got like 2 minutes left or 1 minute. But I'm just trying to build my network with like just like there's a saying like God is my employer. I'm trying to use that and just like look at fear trees and and look at my inventory and just try to work this program one day at a time. I know I felt like I've rambled and I'm so, but I'm just grateful for this program. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I'm trying to be like work has been work, so I'm trying to learn to navigate that and sobriety and be of service to others though too, and not make it all about me. Not make it like, well, I didn't get a good job, Katie, today or every day, or you're awesome every day. It's about what I can do for others too. Um, I don't know. I think that's all I have. I'm very grateful for you guys asking me to speak, and I hope someone got something out of that. So yeah, that's it.